The embargo. Commander Evelyn Reed stood at the viewport of the retrofitted cargo vessel Defiance, watching as the magnificent blue marble of Earth grew smaller in the distance. The ship's engines hummed with a distinctive vibration, the result of human ingenuity forced to work with scraps and cast-offs. Like everything else humans had built in the last 15 years, it was cobbled together from permitted technologies, black market components, and innovations disguised as primitive workarounds. "Status report," she called, turning from the viewport to face her crew. "Galactic enforcement scanners detect us as a standard Trell waste management vessel," replied Lieutenant Marcus Wong from his station. His fingers glided over the makeshift control panel, a blend of alien tech and human creativity. "Our energy signature is masked, and our cargo is registered as biological waste for processing." "Perfect." Evelyn allowed herself a small smile. What they consider waste might just save us all. 15 years ago, humanity had reached for the stars, excited to join the Galactic Concord, an alliance of 27 spacefaring civilizations that govern most of the known galaxy. The welcome had been cordial at first. Earth's delegates were given tours of magnificent alien cities and shown technology centuries beyond human capability. Trade agreements were drafted, cultural exchanges planned. Then the Concord sociologists and predictive AIs completed their assessment of human potential. The Galactic Security Council convened an emergency session. The conclusion was unanimous. Humanity represented an unprecedented threat to galactic stability. Not because of their current capabilities, but because of their rate of advancement. The Concord's predictive models showed that, left unchecked, humans would surpass the most advanced Concord technologies within a century. Within 3, they might achieve capabilities the Concord's oldest members had deemed too dangerous to pursue. The embargo came swiftly. Earth was quarantined. All advanced technology transfers were halted. Human ships were confined to their solar system. Galactic enforcers established a defensive perimeter at the Kuiper Belt, with orders to destroy any vessel attempting to breach it. The official explanation was benevolent. Humanity needed guidance to develop properly. They would be welcomed into the galactic community once they had matured sufficiently. The truth was far simpler. Fear. "Commander," called out Communications Officer Diaz, "we're receiving the transmission from Geneva Base." Evelyn nodded. "Put it through." The main screen flickered to life, displaying the face of Dr. Samir Patel. Dark circles under his eyes spoke of sleepless nights, but there was an undeniable excitement in his expression. "It works, Commander," he said without preamble. "The quantum entanglement breakthrough is confirmed. We've successfully transmitted data instantaneously between Earth and Mars without any detectable energy signature." Evelyn's heart raced. This was it, the advantage they'd been waiting for. Concord communication systems relied on controlled wormhole technology that created detectable ripples in space-time. Their quantum tech might be humanity's key to operating beneath the Concord's watchful eyes. "Any sign the enforcers detected your tests?" she asked. "None." The galactic observation posts reported nothing unusual. "As far as they're concerned, we're still communicating using the permitted radio technologies." "Excellent. We're en route to the rendezvous point now. ETA 14 hours. The transmission ended, and Evelyn turned to her executive officer, Commander Lucas Chen. "How's our cargo doing?" Chen's expression was grim. "Stable, but we need to get them to the research station soon." The stasis units weren't designed for long-term use. Their cargo hold contained 20 of Earth's brightest scientific minds, officially listed as deceased in Earth records. The Concord's embargo hadn't just restricted technology, it had implemented knowledge management protocols. Any human who demonstrated excessive innovation potential was placed under surveillance. Those who pursued restricted research simply disappeared. The underground resistance, which had started as scattered groups of frustrated scientists and military personnel, had grown into the Independent Human Coalition, a shadow organization dedicated to preserving human advancement despite the Concord's restrictions. Their greatest achievement had been establishing the hidden research station in the Kuiper Belt, concealed within a hollowed-out comet. There, beyond the reach of regular enforcement patrols, humanity's best minds worked to reclaim their destiny. "Commander," Wang's urgent voice cut through her thoughts. "Enforcement vessel approaching from Sector 7. They're changing course to intercept." "Time to interception?" Evelyn asked, already moving toward her command station. 8 minutes. "Have they scanned us yet?" "Negative. Standard procedure gives us 3 minutes before they initiate a security scan." Evelyn's mind raced through their options. Running would only confirm suspicion. Fighting was suicide. Enforcement vessels carried weapons that could vaporize their ship in seconds. That left deception as their only viable strategy. "Initiate emergency protocols," she ordered. "Prepare for inspection. And get me Dr. Isamu in engineering." The crew moved with practiced efficiency as a holographic display of a gaunt, middle-aged Japanese woman appeared before Evelyn. "I need the prototype online now," Evelyn said without preamble. Dr. Isamu's eyes widened. "Commander, we haven't completed the final calibrations. If the field collapses while active, if those enforcers discover our passengers, none of that will matter." "How long?" A pause. 5 minutes to bring it online." "You have 4. Evelyn terminated the connection and turned to Chen. "Prepare to execute maneuver Theta 9. We need to buy time." Chen nodded, his expression tense but determined. "Reactor malfunction coming up, Commander." Within moments, the Defiance began venting harmless plasma from its aft section, a convincing simulation of a Kulev leak. Simultaneously, their communication system broadcast a distress signal using the approved Concord emergency frequencies. The approaching enforcement vessel slowed its approach, maintaining a safe distance from the apparent radiation leak. Their communications officer hailed the Defiance. "Trell Waste Management Vessel," came the mechanically translated voice. "This is Galactic Enforcement Cruiser Vigilant Mandate. Our sensors detect a potential reactor instability. State your situation and requirements." Evelyn nodded to Diaz, who opened their channel. "This is Captain Roll of the Efficient Disposal," she said, adopting the guttural accent of the Trell species. "We are experiencing a Level 3 coolant breach. Our engineer reports repairs will require approximately 20 minutes. We appreciate your concern, but require no assistance." There was a pause that stretched Evelyn's nerves to the breaking point. "Understood. Efficient disposal. Concord regulations require us to maintain position and monitor until your vessel is secured. Be advised that we will conduct a standard security scan once your radiation levels have normalized. Acknowledged. Vigilant Mandate. We will notify you when repairs are complete." As the channel closed, Evelyn turned to her crew. "Status of the prototype." 2 minutes to activation," replied Chen, checking the engineering updates on his console. Wang leaned forward at his station. "Commander, they're positioning for optimal scanning range. I think they suspect something." Evelyn felt ice in her veins. The enforcement vessels were equipped with molecular scanners that could identify the biological signatures of every passenger aboard. There would be no hiding their human cargo once the scan began. "New plan," she decided. "Lieutenant Wang, plot a course directly through the debris field in Sector 9. Diaz, inform the enforcement vessel that we're shifting position to facilitate repairs." "The debris field?" Chen questioned quietly. "The Defiance isn't maneuverable enough tow." "Exactly." Evelyn cut him off with a meaningful look. "Dr. Isamu status." The engineer's voice came through the comm. "Prototype online. Commander, field integrity at 70% and holding." "Activate on my mark." Evelyn took a deep breath. "Execute course change, 1/4 thrust." The Defiance began a lumbering turn toward the nearby debris field, the remains of a mining operation abandoned decades ago. The enforcement vessel adjusted its position accordingly, maintaining its distance from the supposed radiation leak. "They're following," Wang confirmed. entering the debris field in 30 seconds. All hands secure for potential impact, Evelyn announced shipwide. Dr. Isamu. Mark. Deep within the ship, the prototype activated. It was humanity's most closely guarded secret, a quantum field manipulator that could briefly alter the way matter interacted with space-time. In theory, it could render the ship partially out of phase with normal space, allowing it to pass through solid objects. In practice, it was untested technology that might tear the ship apart at the molecular level. The Defiance shuddered as the field engaged. A strange blue-white glow enveloped the hull, visible through the internal monitoring systems. Evelyn felt a momentary sense of weightlessness as the quantum field redistributed the ship's mass across a sliver of parallel spacitime. Entering debris field, Wang announced, his voice tight. On the view screen, massive chunks of rock and metal loomed before them. The Defiance continued its course, heading straight for the densest concentration of debris. The enforcement vessel hung back, unwilling to risk its hull in the dangerous field. Impact in 3, 2. The massive chunk of stellar mining equipment filled their view, and then they were passing through it. The sensation was indescribable, like moving through thick fog that offered solid resistance before suddenly yielding. Alarms blared throughout the ship as systems registered phantom collisions with objects that should have torn them apart. Field integrity at 40%. Came Dr. Isamu's strained voice. 35. We cannot maintain this much longer, Commander. Hold course, Evelyn ordered, knuckles white, as she gripped her station. Almost clear. The enforcement vessel had realized something was wrong. Their sensors would be reporting impossible readings as the Defiance moved through solid matter. They fired up their engines, pursuing as close to the debris field as they dared, weapons charging. They're preparing to fire, Diaz shouted. Field failing. Came Isamu's warning. Disengage on my mark, Evelyn commanded. She waited until they had passed through the final large asteroid. Mark. The quantum field collapsed just as they cleared the debris field. The Defiance lurched violently as it fully reintegrated with normal space, systems flickering as power surged through overloaded circuits. Maximum thrust, Evelyn ordered. Get us into the shadow of that gas giant. The Defiance accelerated, its engines straining. Behind them, the enforcement vessel fired, but the debris field interfered with their targeting. Energy beams lanced through space, missing the human ship by mere kilometers. 4 tense minutes later, the Defiance slipped into the gas giant's electromagnetic shadow, temporarily invisible to the enforcement vessel's sensors. We've lost them, Wang confirmed, relief evident in his voice. For now. Evelyn allowed herself a moment to breathe before activating the shipwide comm. This is Commander Reed. As you've likely surmised, our presence has been detected. The mission parameters have changed. We can no longer risk the direct route to the research station. She nodded to Chen, who brought up a navigational display showing a complex route through the outer solar system. We're initiating Protocol Odysseus. All non-essential systems, power down. We'll be taking the long way home. As the crew moved to execute her orders, Evelyn gazed at the display. Their new route would take them dangerously close to enforcement outposts, through radiation belts that would help mask their signature, and finally on a ballistic approach to the hidden station. It would take weeks instead of hours, but they would make it. Humanity always found a way. In the cargo hold, 20 brilliant minds waited in stasis, carrying the knowledge that would help forge humanity's independent future. And in the engineering bay, Dr. Isamu was already analyzing the quantum field test data, identifying improvements for the next iteration. The embargo had been meant to contain humanity. Instead, it had forced them to innovate in ways the Concord had never anticipated. When they finally emerged from the shadows, the galaxy would never be the same. The Renaissance. 5 years after the Defiance's narrow escape, humanity's hidden renaissance was in full bloom. What had begun as a single research station in the Kuiper Belt had expanded into a dispersed network of bases, laboratories, and manufacturing facilities concealed throughout the outer solar system and beyond. Admiral Evelyn Reed, promoted after her successful delivery of the scientists, stood in the command center of Proxima Station, humanity's first extrasolar outpost. Located in the Proxima Centauri system, the station was built inside a hollowed-out asteroid, its exterior indistinguishable from thousands of other space rocks orbiting the distant star. "Status report on the Hermes network," she requested, studying the massive holographic display that dominated the center of the room. Strategic Operations Director Maya Santiago stepped forward. 97% operational. Admiral, the quantum entanglement relays are functioning perfectly. We now have instantaneous communication with all human outposts without any detectable emissions. The Hermes network represented the culmination of Dr. Patel's original breakthrough, a communication system that utilized paired quantum particles to transmit information across any distance without any electromagnetic signature. Unlike the Concorde's wormhole communicators, the human system was completely undetectable. And the Prometheus project. Dr. Isamu reports the first full-scale prototype will be ready for testing next week. If successful, we'll be able to equip our first fleet of ships with functional phase drives. Evelyn allowed herself a small smile. The phase drive was the refined version of the desperate technology that had saved the Defiance years earlier. What had been dangerous and unpredictable was now becoming a controlled science, allowing human ships to partially phase out of normal space, becoming nearly invisible to conventional sensors, and capable of passing through solid matter when necessary. Any sign the Concorde suspects our presence here? Santiago shook her head. None. Their patrol patterns remain consistent with standard monitoring protocols. As far as we can tell, they believe their embargo remains fully effective. Good. And the Vicari situation? Santiago's expression tightened. Unchanged. Their fleet remains in position near the edge of their territory. Our observers report increased military activity, but no direct aggression yet. The Vicari were an immediate complication to humanity's careful plans, a non-Concorde species with a reputation for territorial aggression. They controlled several star systems adjacent to Proxima Centauri. Human intelligence suggested they were aware of unusual activity in the system, but hadn't yet pinpointed its source or nature. "Keep monitoring them," Evelyn ordered. "The last thing we need is—" "Admiral." The urgent voice of Sensor Officer Park interrupted her. Multiple ships dropping out of FTL at the system edge. Configuration matches Concorde enforcement vessels. The command center erupted into controlled chaos as officers rushed to their stations. The main display shifted to show 12 Concorde vessels moving into an attack formation. "How did they find us?" Evelyn demanded. "Unknown, but they're definitely heading straight for Proxima Station," Park replied. "Estimated time to weapons range, 17 minutes. Evelyn's mind raced. Proxima Station housed over 4,000 people, scientists, engineers, and their families. It was the heart of humanity's renaissance, containing research that represented their best hope for true independence. "Initiate evacuation protocol," she ordered. "Priority personnel and research data first. Activate the station's phase shield." The phase shield was an